And so the world has gone and placed its weight upon your shoulder. And now the media is telling you that you're too old. It doesn't matter if your face gets homely, just take it as a natural thing. And it doesn't matter if you get too lonely, pour yourself a stiff one and just try to do your best to kill the sting.
Howdy, folks. We are the Aggressive Progressives. I'm TH.
I'm Ruthie.
This is Ruthie, yes, and we're here to talk some finger-licking politicking as always, which, we know so much about being a photographer and a model. That's just part of our game, is playing politics, wouldn't you say?
No, I don't think that's any. I don't think.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to go, you guys need to shut up and just take pictures and model and don't have an opinion because you're not human beings and you're perverts. Anyway.
We'd love to hear your opinions on that, by the way.
No, not on the perverted thing. We'll give you our opinion on that, which is we are perverts. But anyway, so today I want to talk about something that I was discussing with my brother not too long ago. And my question, and I want your thoughts on this, is how the hell did the Democrats lose the poor and the working class? What do you think about that?
I don't know. Probably, I think just it comes down to people getting lazy and just going with the votes that their parents, vote for. Like, saying they should vote party, and if they do, then they feel good about it because that's how their parents did it, or that's how their grandparents did it, and it just has a lot to do with being just misinformed and uninformed, really.
So, like, you're coming from a Republican family. Mm-hmm. So you just inherently vote Republican is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I grew up with an incredibly right-wing, concept of politics. And
yes, you did.
And my father, though, ironically, always told us as children that we should never vote strictly party, that we should vote individually according to our beliefs. And consequently, that meant for him voting party.
He's never gone outside of that. He even admits that Trump is an idiot, but he votes party. Anyway, he did. But, where they get him, and I love this, is because this is part of my hypothesis as to how we lost, the Democrats lost the poor and the working class. And one major thing is religion. The Republicans embraced Christianity as part of their political ideology, which is amazing to me because the most liberal person to probably ever walk the earth was Jesus. I don't think Jesus ever said, screw the poor, screw the children, screw the sick, and it's all based on that abortion thing, of which there's nothing in the Bible that says thou shalt not abort. And I'm sure people will say, oh yeah, well, it says thou shalt not kill. But that all has to do with when life actually begins and what is life,
Well,
but I think that's a major part of it.
I think you're right, but I also think that even no matter how intelligent you are, which I think there are very intelligent people out there that voted for Trump that wouldn't have done so if it wasn't for their religion. So it just has to do with kind of a morality type of situation where you think you're doing the right thing, and it's just.
But how can they ever equate Trump with morality? That's what cracks me up.
Because you only see what they want you to see. They only see Fox News, Donald Trump shaking hands with people. They don't see all the rest of the stuff because that's the only stuff they put out there.
The Christian right actually embraced Donald Trump and had the audacity to say, well, he's a man of God. When there's a tape of this guy talking about grabbing pussy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just one of the many, many immoral things that this man has done just on the campaign. And yet they have the nerve to say that he's a man of God. That's ridiculous. That's being intentionally obtuse is what that is. And I do not understand that. He is the antithesis of anything Christian. If Christ showed up today, and actually the one thing Jesus would be a conservative Republican. There's no way he would be would you agree with that? Or say otherwise?
No, yeah, definitely. Jesus was a hippie, if anything.
Yeah,
so.
that's definitely true. You don't hang out with like 12 guys, just roaming everything in sandals with long hair.
Peace, love.
And just chilling. Peace, love.
Giving stuff to the poor. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, for God's sakes, no pun intended. Jesus, made
a white guy.
Made water out of.
He was a white
wine
guy.
Out of water.
He was a white guy.
Supposedly. So.
Well, of course. What do you mean supposedly? It's like the furthest thing Jesus was. But anyway, I find it so interesting that that the Democrats lost the working class, and I have, like I said, that's one hypothesis, the religious thing, and the other thing is Anglocentrism and racism. I think I think that it is better in America these days to be at least a poor white man than it is to be a rich black man in the minds of poor white people. So they would rather align themselves with a political ideology that is Anglo-centric in its very foundation. And there's no way you can go around that. You can sit there, but I love how conservatives hate when you call them racist and say, you're playing the race card. I'll tell you something. The race card wouldn't be there if you hadn't dealt it to us in the first place. Keep that in mind, But they hate being called racist because ye that doth protest too much. But I think that's a massive part of it. The whole thing about building a wall, the whole thing about, any brown skin, people or country and being blatantly discriminating against them, which that campaign was, I think played into the hearts, into the souls of like the deep South, which is still inherently racist.
Well, the smartest thing that the Republicans ever did was to align themselves with Christianity. So and
the Klan.
That's very well. Yeah, that's probably the least smart thing they did. But
isn't that funny though that David Duke actually gave like a public shout out to Donald Trump, a public shout out?
Yeah, and that didn't even make the news.
I know that barely got any play at all.
Yeah, everything that he's done so far has been twisted and spun into something that is supposedly good.
Well, so yeah, I agree with you though on the I brought it up on the Christianity thing. I think that's a huge thing. But one of the things I want to address.
It's a conspiracy.
It's always a conspiracy. One of the things I want to address, and we'll end on this, is an observation that I've had is the far right, the alt-right, general right-wing people, they don't fear liberals. And the reason they don't fear liberals is because liberals don't arm themselves. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These are people, once again, that have embraced the Second Amendment. So I'm telling all of my liberal friends to be like me, get yourself a license, arm yourself, be a respectable and a concerned gun owner. Because, I'm not a proponent of violence, of course, in any way, but I am a proponent of protecting yourself. And I'll tell you this, the minute liberals start arming themselves and minorities start arming themselves legally, all that gun show shit, those loopholes and stuff, all of those will be closed immediately.
Fear is a really powerful thing, and it can make and destroy countries based off of how you react to it. And I think that liberals and conservatives are different in the effect that a lot of times conservatives think with their quote unquote heart or their morality.
Liberals do too.
I mean, they do, but they also use their head and they use facts. And unfortunately, the tendencies lately have been to swing towards alternative facts, which really aren't facts at all.
We love you, Kellyanne.
If you look at the word alternative, it means something other than what it is. So that means it's not.
It kind of runs congruent to a lie. It's a kind way of saying a lie. But anyway, I'm serious about the fear thing. They don't fear us at all. They don't give a shit about how liberals or how progressives feel, because they know they've got guns. Arm yourselves, liberals. Embrace the Second Amendment just like they do, okay? Because, hey, it's all about protecting yourself when it comes to, on the streets and protesting and blah, 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 blah. If you're strapping, you got a hip holster on, man, and you're strapping as well, Now it's an equal playing field.
I saw a funny bumper sticker on a car the other day. It said, "This car only carries 25 rounds of ammunition." I started laughing at that. I was like, good for you.
That's a good job.
I was like, what video game is that from?
But, I think it's so important, like I said, for liberals and progressives to equal that playing field. That whole thing about, when they go low, we go high. That's bullshit.
That doesn't work.
You don't bring a knife to a gunfight, and
that's what Hillary did, and she
absolutely,
lost.
and she lost. You see what happened. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of talk about that and bounce off that
Fear
concept.
us, Republicans. Fear us.
Yes, we are coming, and there is nothing you can do about it. But I tell you this, what we've been doing so far has been, overwhelming and scaring you with pamphlet campaigns and satire and all that stuff.
And lots of talking.
Yeah, that shit doesn't work on somebody in the Deep South who has, 13 CZs and an AR-15 and
a lot
and a rocket launcher.
And
exactly. You got to equal the playing
hormones.
field. Anyway, so just an observation. Once again, I want to stress that we're not we're not proponents of violence in any way, but we are about equaling the playing field and about protecting ourselves from people
definitely.
who,
we have the right to bear arms.
Absolutely. And I have bear arms right now. I have a lovely evening frock on.
Oh, they're very handsome bear arms.
Thank you very much. Anyway, we're the Aggressive Progressives. We're going to call it a day. We'll come back with some more stuff like this. And consequently...
Where he talks all the time.
I do.
Absolutely nothing. Just back him up.
Pontificating. And she's much cuter than me. But anyway...
But you'd never be able to tell.
If you want to hear more... Yep, we're going to allow people to subscribe, obviously. And if you want to see more of Ruthie, check the link below to her Patreon page and donate.
This is not an advertisement.
It is an advertisement. Anyway, thanks a lot, you guys. We'll be seeing you sometime soon. Say goodbye, Ruthie.
Bye-bye.
An emotional quick